So give me a second here. Brandon, see below link for an example of what we're looking for in Thousand Oaks for nearby area. And that it could be what is right at the top of the grade? What is that, Newbury Park?
Correct.
Probably don't want to go to Agoura Hills. That's LA County, isn't it?
Yes.
So, of course, if we could find something in Camarillo, that would be great too. But let me send this to you. We were just looking yesterday. Let me know when you got that. You don't have to look at the link, but just let me know when you got my email.
Sure. Pull it up right now. Okay, I have an email that came through.
Okay. So, we've got moving pieces here. We got this property, the home that is being built in southern Utah, and we got the small condo that we need to buy get my daughter into. And we'll probably take out a loan for me and my wife, because I don't think she's going to qualify by herself.
Okay.
So we do have a lender, a friend who can help us with the loan.
Great.
We know that 3 bedrooms, I mean, there are, a million listings for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in any city. The 3-bedroom makes it really, really narrows the search down, but
correct.
We're willing to spend a little bit more because there's room to grow. There's even potential. There's a future income potential if they have to take in a boarder.
Right.
So we want to stick with the 3-bedroom.
Okay.
That link that I sent you is only 1,100 square feet. So we're not very particular at all as far as what it looks like, because we've got money to do a remodel.
Okay.
But what we are particular about is it has to be in a decent neighborhood with a decent development. And in Thousand Oaks, we probably don't have to worry about that too much.
Yeah, there are some spots that are a little bit more questionable. Typically, the lower price properties are right off the freeway. There's some areas you'll see what I'm talking about. If you drive through the area, it's just not as nice as the rest of Thousand Oaks. So just something to be mindful of and careful of. But yeah, no, I'm pulling up the map on this one. It doesn't look like this is one in that particular neighborhood. But I can look more into it as well.
Oh, and it has to be an upper unit.
Upper unit. Okay.
Must be an upper unit.
Okay.
Not going to have people stomping on my ceiling.
Right.
Or their ceiling.
Right.
So here's the thing. I want to make this easy. This is, a little unsettling for my wife and my daughter.
Okay.
We're moving out of state, and she's feeling a little, she's going to be on her own, and not sure how she's going to make it. So as far as selling this home, but it all hinges on selling this home. And how can we do this easy? I'm thinking if you've got people who are already interested,
yep,
probably just disappointed that they didn't get the our neighbor's 3620, that property.
Right.
I mean, a good realtor, which I'm guessing you are, has probably already reached out to the other agents and said, hey, I might have another one coming on the market very shortly.
Yep. Well, I already have the list of everybody written down that I'm going to reach out to. So I always, because I have to have a signed agreement before I start reaching out and soliciting, for those buyers. But I have no doubt you're not going to have any issue getting a buyer at the price point that we talked about in your current condition of that home, that you're going to find somebody that's going to be very interested. So, some of what we found out the first time is There was one who was very eager, ready to write, subject to inspection. They were military. They started reaching out. The husband drove through the area, wasn't too hot on the area, expressed some concern to his agent. The agent then, spoke to the wife. The wife also, she had reached out like through Facebook and got some negative response back on it. So they decided, they ended up passing. They were a VA buyer that sounded like a very strong prospect. They had closed a deal. The agent had closed a deal with my parents not too long ago, so she was already trying to, start just planting those seeds and trying to set up for a closing with us. But unfortunately, it didn't. So what I would say is, even out of the group, and it's actually when I started writing, because I wrote some of my clients as well, I came up with 15 different names and numbers between agents. The one backup we have, it is an agent representing himself, so unfortunately, it wouldn't be one of my buyers. But I have three buyers I want to speak to. One specifically that was interested, that couldn't see it last weekend. He owns a shop down in Oxnard. He's looking to buy his second property. He bought a home from me a few years ago, Dos Vientos, loves his house there. It comes from a good family. They own, it's kind of like a bakery type shop down in Oxnard, and they've done very well. And it's kind of a, trying to remember what the name of it's called. It's like cello or something, some exotic sounding name. But he's super good guy, younger, probably in his 30s or so. But he had reached out to me right before the end of the year because I had another upcoming listing in North Oxnard. And that guy's kind of been on hold because he has tenants in his property related to him and their Section 8. So he's trying to give them the time that they need. So he was following up with me on that guy, told him about your neighbor's listing. He was originally set to see it and couldn't see it because somebody had called in sick at his work, so he had to fill in for them. So he hasn't seen it, but he's probably my strongest buyer that I do want to get into your property. His name's Juan Carlos Ramirez, and so he's top of my list to try to coordinate a time. So what my recommendation would be, and it all depends on what it is you're trying to accomplish. And
well, let me tell you.
Go ahead.
If you have some people who you feel, before we do the whole route where we have to do a lot of work here, cleaning up and straightening up, if you have even one or two interested people who just want to do a walkthrough, we'll tidy up a little bit. We'll take an hour or two. But as far as packing stuff up and putting it in the garage, I mean, if you think you have some people that it's worth our time, and it wouldn't be an issue. I mean, we'll do what we have to do. We will work with you to sell the home, but it's been kind of a stressful 2 months. I mean, my daughter came down with COVID.
Right.
Her boyfriend came down with COVID. Thank the Lord, neither my wife or I did.
Good.
But from Thanksgiving through the new year, we were battling COVID in one form or another. And there's just been some other family things, my wife's family. There's just been some stuff that has been causing her some stress. And then now, plus we've been working with our builder in Utah, which is really, I'm handling that. Right. But it's just one more thing on her plate. And, to invite you in and have you look at the home and that. But she's actually on board. She's on board. I've learned 25 years of marriage. I can't push her. I can't drag her along. She's got to be on board with me, and she is.
Absolutely. Cut you out for a second. Are you still there?
People don't mind looking in a lived-in home. No. We could have them in as early as this week. Okay. We can vacate, and because I'm home every 2 weeks teleworking. It has to be in the afternoon after 12 p.m. Like I say, I'm Zooming on my training class all morning. Right. But we could pretty much do that. Do you think you have anybody that you could bring through where we wouldn't have to clean up and put stuff in boxes? And
Absolutely. Two that I have in mind right now that I want to reach out to after. I just wanted to get an idea of what you were thinking in terms of timing. Again, it's what you're ultimately trying to accomplish. If if looking at the net sheet at that 490, you were happy with what you're walking away with at that price, I'm pretty confident if I told, especially Juan Carlos, that
You're fading out, and then I'm sorry, I'm only hearing half of what you're saying.
okay, not sure why it's cutting in and out a little bit. Can you hear me?
Now I hear you.
Okay. So what I was
Looking at the net sheet.
Yeah, so I was saying if you were happy at that 490 price and I bring one of these buyers, I'm pretty certain that there's a chance, as long as he's good with the area, he's looking to rent it out to family, friends. He knows more family and friends in Oxnard than he does out in, Newberry Park, Camarillo, that area. So what I was basically saying, you got a couple options. You can go the one route of we can show it to a few buyers, see what they think. We can put it together.
Hey, I'm sorry, Brandon. Can you call me back? Let's try this again. I'm only hearing
No
half
problem.
of what you're saying.
I'll call you right back. Sorry about that. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hello.
Hello, Scott.
Yes.
Do we have a better connection?
Well, yeah, it sounded good, until it didn't before.
Well, hopefully it works out a little bit better now. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you were saying that, yeah, to be frank or brief, yeah, that net sheet would make us really happy. We don't want to be greedy, but we don't want to, short ourselves either. We're not gonna, we're not gonna hold out for 500 or 499. If when this last property just across the way from us sold at 480.
Right.
If you really think it's, I mean, we could swallow 480 ourselves, but
Okay.
I mean, if we can do 490,
Absolutely.
let's do 490.
Right. Okay. Well, no, absolutely. And that's part of it. I know, the cost when you're looking at commissions, you're looking at the title and escrow, all the costs that start adding up. When we can push and stretch that extra 10, 15K, it goes a long ways to get the representation that, is, I don't want to say it's necessary for everybody, but for most people, it's very appreciated as you're going through the process. Some people have a lot more experience. They try to sell homes on their own, and you can do it in this market with the low inventory. That is a possibility that you can do it. When you have somebody on your side who knows what they're doing and they're not just blowing smoke and truly understands the market, understands the values, understands people, and this is what I'm committed to. This is my passion and what I'm going to be doing for the next 20 years, even though I've been doing this since I'm 20, I was 22. I'll have 20 years in pretty soon. So I'm grateful to be in the position I am to be able to help people out. But basically, it's all what you're trying to accomplish. And if you want my buyers to come in first, I'm more than happy to do it. I do want to make sure you make as much money as possible from the sale of this property. The incentive for them is they're going to know they'll have a little bit less competition, as opposed to all I have to tell them is a story about my buyer that was one of 28 offers on a property that was listed at 590 that went out at 635. And that's what most people are dealing with. And part of me, to be frank, would love to see that happen for you if that's a possibility. The difference is that property had no HOA. It's a detached property. It had a zero lot line, so a similar type patio situation, but a park right across the way, and no HOAs. So that draws that type of activity. I can't say that we're going to get that type of activity. If we were trying to be more aggressive, we'd go to a lower price point and really try to drive it. But I'd rather go on the higher side keep it just the serious, strongest buyers that potentially can come through and vet them. And then if I can get you 2 or 3 offers, great. And if we did that over a weekend, that was more of what I wanted to talk to you about, was strategy of timing and when you would want to put this on. But if you want to see what my buyers can do first up front, and then try that for maybe this weekend, and then possibly if timing worked out for the following weekend, we can even do showings on Saturday and Sunday. If you added Friday, it's even better. But you can do one Friday, Saturday, Sunday, make it where that's the only times that you're going to have it available. We set appointment slots, and keep them at least 30 minutes to typically 45 minutes apart. And you'll have, I'd be shocked if you had less than 10 appointments set that weekend at that price point. Especially if we advertise it like on a Monday, say no showings till Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or just Saturday and Sunday. And then I start vetting everybody during that week to make sure that when they set the appointment, they send me the pre-approval, their proof of funds, everything that they need, so that we know that we have vetted strong buyers before they even see the place. And then just do a time period, if we could, depending on what works with all of your schedules, but from 10 a.m. to 2 to 4 p.m., somewhere in that range. If you were open to that, that would be a way of ensuring that you knew you weren't underselling the property. So it's whatever's in your best interest. Sometimes me, even with my own buyer, isn't as much money as you could have walked away with. And for my brother and sister-in-law, I wanted them to see, what else they could do, but they're still so careful on everything that this was, the best, most ideal way. Now I have to find a way for my buyer to be able to do their due diligence in terms of inspections and seeing it, so they know exactly what it is they're getting with, which we did the inspection on Saturday. The buyers didn't even step foot in the property, and that's very unusual, but they also do trust me in terms of representing them and disclosing everything, and they're going to get the report. So just typically you would have to make the house available for an inspection, for an appraisal. Termite you already have, so that should be good. And then any other further inspections they want to do. And usually they would have the first 17 days after acceptance to do that. But it's set typically in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, we can certainly be flexible for showings and schedules. I'd like to go the easy. Easy is going to be the, easy in our case is going to outweigh getting us another $5,000 or $10,000.
Okay.
And timing. Here's the thing. Typically, what right now, 30 to 45 days? What's the typical escrow?
Typical's 30 to 45. Typical time to sell in that complex before just this recent surge of buyer demand would normally be about 40. If you saw, I think it was 51 days was the average. 51 to 61 days is what it typically took to put a home in escrow. And that wasn't always at full price. With what we're seeing right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the one weekend we generate the multiple offers by that next Monday, Tuesday, and then we start responding the Tuesday following to the offers that we have coming in. But easy, and I'm hearing you 100%, if we do the easy route, I would recommend we set it up. I try to reach out, and I know my client works during the week, so Saturdays actually work best for him, and later Saturday, because he works Saturday as well, like I would say in the afternoon, probably after 1 o'clock. But I can call him up and let him know. He was actually on my list today to reach out to let him know that we potentially had a property coming up that he may be interested in. So I could reach out to him. Would Saturday be a possibility for you?
Saturday afternoon is, I think so. I'm looking at the calendar here. It's the 30th.
Yep.
I don't think anything going on. Yeah, that would give us this week and
Okay.
even Saturday morning to kind of tidy up a little bit.
Okay.
It's a lot better. The downstairs looks good now. I wish you would have come on Sunday, because Sunday we got everything cleaned up.
It looked good when I saw. I mean, I can see. Again, our house is very lived in, so if you were at our place, I would hope you would have that same consideration. That's all I would ask. But no, I can see it, and I can see you got a beautiful home, so we're not going to have any issue.
Well, here's the thing. So
So if 30 to 45 is typical, then 60 isn't unreasonable.
Correct.
But we wouldn't want to scare anybody away, because I know buyers want to lock in their rate, and you push it out another 2 weeks, 15 days.
Right.
Okay, that's a little longer until I can lock in my rate. But then what we would need is the option to rent back here for another 60 days.
Correct.
So, because our home in Utah isn't supposed to be done until sometime in May, and I talked to my builder this morning, and there's a snowstorm in southern Utah right now, and he's got his framing crew. Actually, he has to pour a little more cement, and then he has to frame, but they can't do any of that until it stops snowing and maybe even melts a little bit. So, I mean, nothing's happening. So, you know, it could be done as, if weather cooperates, it could be done May 1st. If weather doesn't cooperate, it might be May 30th.
Okay.
So we need the option of
the flexibility.
The flexibility. I mean, if we can get the home done sooner, and then again, the third piece of the puzzle is moving from here. I mean, ideally, we sell this home. Stay with me. I'll try and say this just once, and I'll try and say it clearly. We sell this home. We rent back. Our home gets built in Utah. While we're renting back here, we find a place in TO and could buy it and close on it, and then just move out of here and move half of our stuff to TO and the other half up to Utah. But, you know, we might have to leave this property and move most of our stuff up to Utah, but just rent somewhere in Camarillo until we did find that next property in TO.
Okay.
Which, you know, if all goes well, you could represent us, you know, as buyers in TO.
That'd be great. And as I mentioned before, in terms of the credit, I'd give you the 25% on the purchase as well, whatever the total commission is on the purchase side, which is typically 2.5%. But you'll see 2 and 2 1/4, and I'll disclose to you whatever that commission is, and give you another 25% credit, you know, towards that on that purchase.
Well, thank you very much, Brandon. We really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I just appreciate your trust and giving me this opportunity. And my hope is, even though you're moving out to Utah, which I may have family moving out in that same direction. So it's we have
St. George.
Yeah, it's well, St. George is actually where St. George, and then you said Cedar City, correct?
We're 50 miles above St. George.
Right. So Cedar City is where my uncle currently, that was their first property they purchased. It looks like a duplex. It's one side of a duplex there. So we've gone out there. We've skied a few times. It's beautiful. I mean, we love it. My parents love it. They just stay here because of all the grandbabies. They have nine grandchildren here. And so they have a hard time leaving. But my youngest brother just went to Boise, Idaho, took his 2 little ones there. And doesn't seem like anybody's following suit yet. 2 other brothers just purchased their first homes here in Camarillo, and which is very difficult to do right now with these prices and the low demand, or the high demand but low inventory. So it's but Cedar City is beautiful, awesome place, and I think you're a couple hours from Vegas, and that's my uncle's main residence now is in Henderson. So they got a foreclosed property out there. I fixed it up, and it's got a beautiful view of the Strip. And they go back and forth and enjoy that Cedar City property.
Yeah, we intend to every month be down here. I guess hopefully we find something in TO at the condo, and especially during maybe the winters when the winter gets a little too long.
Right.
But we fell in love with Utah maybe 6 years ago when we went out there and did hiking, and then we thought, boy, might not be a bad place to retire.
Right.
So that's where we're at. But we have to. The buyer would have to give us the option. In fact, we want the option to stay, through May.
Okay.
Through 31 May.
Right.
And if we stretch the escrow out for 60 days, then that the longer time we're in escrow, the less time we're
Running
paying
back.
a $3,100 a month, rent back to, the buyer.
Right. Yeah, I was actually going to send that over to you. I got a price estimate for the minimum money down for that purchase price. It's actually at 480 though, with the 490 HOA, so it's still close. It's not, for every $5,000 in price is typically about $30 a month in payment, so you're not off by much. But I'll send that to you just so you can see what the payment looks like with principal, interest, taxes, insurance, HOAs, all the estimates, and required cash to close with the minimal money down on an FHA, what it would look like. And being that your property is a PUD, it's a planned unit development, you can do FHA, you can do VA and conventional, which is also a better reason of how you can generate that multiple offer situation if that's what you're looking for. It's you're set up nicely in terms of timing, and the 60 days is doable because they have 60-day rate locks for the interest rates. So as long as they know up front it's a 60-day escrow, they'll hold off and float it for a little bit just to make sure they get the best interest rate, but they can lock it in for a 45 or a 60 day once you're in escrow, as long as they know that they're getting the house. And people prefer the rent back because then they know your house isn't contingent on you finding a home of choice. They know that they're going to get the house on a specific date. And my backup offer would be my recommendation. The backup I have on Olds Road right now, I would reach out to him as well. He's the agent representing himself, and check with him to give him a heads up that yours is potentially coming up as well, so that you could have some competition. Even if my buyer is interested, have him as well interested in the property. And his lease, I believe, if I recall correctly, was either till June or July. So the timing for him could work out really well as well. And I know he'd be thrilled to have an opportunity to see your place early, and just share with them the condition and so forth, in terms of, that it's being lived in. We're not ready to go live yet, but we'll get them an early access and see what we can do with that.
Okay. So what, without being greedy and without selling ourselves short,
Right.
What's our target listing price?
Target listing price would be 490. I would put it on at 490. If we were looking on the low side, it would be 475, and that's still pretty substantial, but that would draw more interest just based on the last one being listed right at 480 and going as quickly as it did. If it were me and I were in your position, I'd put it at 490. Give it the extra 10K. You set that standard. If somebody comes in at full price, they're going to feel good they got it at full price and didn't have to go way over asking price. You still got some money to work with in case there's any requests for repairs. I mean, you're going to keep it all minimal and be able to negotiate that down as low as you need to, but you'll have an extra 5 to 10 to play with, all depending on what you're comfortable with netting from the sale of the home. So if you were okay at 480, I would put it at 490. And then if you do get a multiple, I know the gentleman who's the backup offer, because I had him get vetted with Jason Haraldson, and he got a majority of it, but he didn't run his credit with him. But just looking at the numbers, it was interesting because his loan officer he was working with, he didn't even know what his monthly payment was. He knew what he was approved up to, but didn't know what his monthly payment was. So my guy was filling him in on exactly how much cash to close he needed, as well as what his monthly payment was going to be. And I can tell it was a little higher. He wanted to keep his payment under $3,000, and his payment at the 490 would likely be about $3,200, which they can do. And husband and wife, he has some type of, I'm not sure what kind of disability it is. You can tell as he walks in. But he asked about the handicap parking, that there was no handicap parking. And I said, I've been here, for the last 5 years or so. I've never seen anything there, and I don't see any designation for that. But didn't seem like anything that was a major issue to him. He was just kind of surprised to not see that. And then, but him and his wife both work on base, and trying to remember exactly. I know he shared some of what it was that they did, but both have. One is a contractor, I believe a civilian contractor, but they're both on base. Neither of them are in the military, but both are associated there. I think it's some type of DoD position.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think 490, if it were me, that would be the price that I would recommend putting it on. It's pretty simple with the pricing strategy if we have it on the MLS, just because we didn't get into these details. I didn't do a formal listing presentation for you, but we don't just sit and wait, number one. I utilize the agents that I know is probably our biggest area. Our database of buyers is big, and that's important. But more importantly is knowing the other good agents in the area, reaching out to them, letting them know what you have coming up. Lisa Cozen's one of them. She's a kind of up and coming agent. Has been doing it for about 3 years, but she's a great agent. I think she did over 20 sides last year. And just so you know, that we closed officially 21 transactions last year. For I always say my wife's more stay at home right now, but she knows she's born and raised in Oxnard, so she's got a big network of people as well, and does a lot in the cheer community. So but we proactively call these agents to let them know, agents that I've closed transactions with in the past, that this is coming up because there's so little inventory out there. So the second I start creating the buzz on it, we will have people that will want to see it. But if we're trying to make this as easy as possible, I would stick to these two as being the most solid interested parties. And I would check with these two first, see how Saturday goes, and then kind of use that and go from there. But the downside is if we do this and we just have these two, I think, I don't even want to call it a downside. I'm pretty certain the backup offer is going to write an offer on your property. And I'm pretty certain he's going to give us the time that we need. So you may have everything you need. He is representing himself. So you would still have to pay that 2.5% commission to his side. What I could try to do, and I don't like to do this, but I could even try to negotiate his commission down a little bit and say, hey, look, I got to be upfront with you. We're only going to offer 2, which I don't like to misrepresent, because if we're going to do 2.5, we should put 2.5 out there. You can try to save a little bit of money on that, but I don't know for the extra 0.5% at 500,000, it's less than $2,500. I don't know if it would necessarily be worth it to do that personally. I think, all he's going to do is use that towards his closing cost. He was getting a gift from his parents for $10,000. They had about, I think, $12,000 in the bank. So, roughly the 22 or so, and they were doing a VA loan.
Well, yeah, if I'm paying, an additional 2.5%, that's what, 12,500.
Correct.
Yeah, that's no good at all.
Okay.
So we'd have to do something.
Okay. You talking about for that buyer if he were to see it early?
Yeah, we'd have to. Then rather than the 490, even if he offered full price, now we're really at 477.5.
Okay. So would you want to offer him at 2% then, and just say, hey, I can give you the heads up, you can see it early, but we're only going to pay a 2% commission out?
Well, that's still a lot of money. That's still, I don't know, the 0.5% isn't. It's 2% of what is the 2%? It's still probably at least 10 grand.
Yeah, 2%. It's close to it. It's getting close to it. So, what my recommendation would be then, if we're concerned about the commission being paid to that other agent, that other side, is I hold off on telling him or showing him the property. Just wait. If we have to put it on the MLS, then we create a multiple offer situation. You're going to more than cover whatever commission you're paying out. So that would be my recommendation. I was just trying to figure out something that would be easy, and don't want to say a sure thing, but I'm pretty confident that they would pull the trigger on your property, as long as they express the same interest as what they saw in the first one that they didn't really have a chance at. But
Right.
yeah, I would recommend if you were trying to save on the commission, that we just keep it to my buyers on this Saturday, see how that goes. That should give us a little bit of time, and then if you want to the following weekend try to put it on the MLS, we put it on the MLS, and then we can decide whether you want to offer whatever commission that you do. But the less you offer on the buying side of the commission, it's not going to help generate that extra money that you can get by offering 2.5.
Yeah, absolutely, and I understand that. So how many potential buyers could you bring us this weekend, Saturday?
Well, this weekend, I'm going to reach out to 3 of them. One just signed a long lease, so I don't believe he's already said they realize that what they want is around 700,000. He's actually somebody who went to law school. No, he was actually in my fraternity house, and he lives out in Ventura right now, but he's an attorney. But he had just told me that they just signed a long lease, so he was going to be the bottom of my list. Juan Carlos Ramirez is the hottest one, and then there's Cindy and Pedro. They're trying to look more North Oxnard, but I want to reach out to them. They were also another referral from BC CDC. So those were the 3 top of mind right now. The other buyers I had just got their offer accepted in Camarillo, so that was the 4th one. There's a few others I can reach out to, but I'm just trying to reach out to who's the most ready right now, qualified, got everything vetted. And those 3 that I mentioned to you, they're all ready to go. Just the one just signed a lease.
Okay. So, all righty, why don't we proceed that way? What do we need to do as far as making it official?
I send you the listing agreement. I'll put in all the details I mentioned about the credits that I'm going to give you on the listing side if I represent the buyer, as well as if you purchase with me. I'll put all those credits in there. Once we have the signed listing agreement, really it comes down to the timing of when you would like to go live. If we have to go live on the MLS, which if I had to bet, I'd say probabilities are that's the route that we'll have to go, but I'm hopeful that Juan Carlos Ramirez is interested as I'm hoping that he is. He didn't get to see the other one. The big thing is that HOA, and that's why I think ultimately we may have to go on the MLS, which wouldn't be a bad thing because it's going to create more interest and you're going to have that buzz. So it's the timing more than anything. How soon do you think you could have it ready for photos? Because the photos are going to be the most important in terms of getting you that exposure. That's what we were able to do with the other one. Not saying it's got to be as tidied up as they got it to, but just if you can be able to box some things up, how much time do you think it would take for that? If we're saying past this weekend, going into the next weekend, do you think by the following weekend?
Probably the next weekend. Probably, not this weekend, but next weekend.
By the 6th? Okay.
And we could probably do the photos on the what is that? The 7th, 8th. I don't know what that is.
So the 6th is that Saturday, 6th and 7th. Ideally, if we could if we do the photos that either towards that weekend, and I have to check and see what her availability is. The girl Denise Butler's who I use, my brother-in-law. I could ask him; he's right over there, but he hasn't been my photographer for the last 6 to 8 months now. So the other gal is likely who will have go out there. So I need to check with her schedule, see what she's available, and then I can let you know about the dates. And I'll try to plan for the following weekend. Once we have the photos done, takes her about 24 to 48 hours to edit them, get them sent over to me, and then I can put them on the MLS. Once we have it on the MLS, everything happens pretty quickly at that point, in terms of advertising it, exposing it, and then we would just try to limit our showings to a convenient time for your family.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just thinking. Hey, you could send me what is it, a repsy or what do you guys call it?
It's a listing agreement is what we call it.
Okay, yeah, the real estate purchase contract, that's the buyer.
Right. The RPA with the offer. Yeah, we call it the RPA. Utah is called the repsy.
Yeah.
And I only know that because the guys who bought Troop Real Estate are from Utah. So they have a St. George location. So I actually know the manager there, and we would go out to Utah and stay at their headquarters. Trying to remember where it was at. It's outside of Salt Lake City in that area there is where their main base was. But that's what I'm saying. Utah is definitely on the radar for us. So it's
Yeah, we've never been up that far, believe it or not. We just stayed in southern Utah. We like that Red Rock, and then
Yeah.
Zion National Park,
Right.
Bryce Canyon, and Cedar City is different. It's not the desert community that even St. George is, just 50 miles south, but it's
Right.
it's more of a mountain community. And I was just a little concerned that St. George is exploding and has been for the past few years, and
Right.
will most likely continue to grow, and might not have the quality of life that we really want and are looking for, in just a few years. And we can come down to the hustle and bustle here anytime we want. We were looking for something different up there in Cedar City, so hopefully
That's cool.
it'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go over. Go ahead, if you would please, Brandon. Send me the contract, and
Okay.
then we'll look at that later. I'll be looking at it. My wife will just be the one who signs it.
No problem.
You'll be dealing with me, 100%.
Sounds good.
And then I want to go over the settlement, estimated
Yeah,
settlement
no problem.
as well.
Let me pull that up real quick, just so I have it in front of me.
But we don't have to do it right now.
Okay.
Why don't we do it? Can we do it later, like late this afternoon, early evening, 4 or 5 o'clock, something like that?
Yeah, no problem. Is it? Did you have questions just in terms of anything specific? Was it the line items or?
Yeah, just going through everything. I was trying to pay attention, or look like I was paying attention,
Okay.
on Zoom to my class, and just had a few questions. I don't even recall what they are. Just need some really clarification. What's this charge?
Okay.
What is this? That's about it, because it was more than, it was a lot.
Right.
It was a lot. It was more than I was anticipating.
Yeah, no problem. Those are for the most part, most of those are customary in terms of what the sellers typically pay for when they sell the property. You do have the HOA, so there's a HOA doc transfer fee that's there. NHD's natural hazard disclosure, and we can go over it all together. It's another disclosure report. One thing I can do is I'll talk to All Valley Escrow and see if they can give you a repeat client discount, which could knock off a couple $100 for you. So I'll talk to them about that. And other than that, the rest of them it's going to be pretty generic, regardless of what title and escrow company we pick. They have some discount escrow companies out there. Got to be careful with it though. It's just, that you get what you pay for, I guess, to be blunt. There's real estate professionals out there that are, all they're going for is to try to take as many listings as they can at the most reduced amount and just see what sticks. It's all in terms of the approach of what you're looking at. So that's why I am grateful that I'm able to do what I can in terms of rebates. I know that you're going to see the value once you see us work and how we work. But it does take it's a big trust in terms of signing an agreement with an agent that you want to represent you. You want to make sure that you know what they bring to the table. Do you need me to send you any past clients' contact information, or have you had a chance to pull me up on Zillow? And actually, I heard they changed Zillow around, so I hope they haven't screwed with my profile too much. But you can see the past sales, and I can send you a list of our past sales as well over the last year, 2 years, if you'd like to see it.
Yeah, could you please,
Sure.
Brandon, and one or two people that you wouldn't mind
No problem.
talking to?
Yeah.
But you made a good first impression on me and my wife as well.
Thank you.
And, that's why we're calling. No, I've heard that 10% of the real estate agents make 90% of the money. It's
Correct.
one thing to get your real estate license. It's another thing to stay with it and become a successful and really what's the word I'm looking for? Honest.
Yeah.
That's I'm a little tired. My brain is a little tired already. But someone whose service is really important to us.
Right.
That's what distinguishes so many businesses, and it seems to be something that's just so basic, so 101, but you seldom see it. And it really, but when you do, when you see service, good customer service, it stands out because it is so uncommon.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and that's what we strive. Just take a lot of pride. I'm all in with this. I don't think I got into too much in terms of taking the bar. I took the bar 3 times. Second time I came very close. I think it was within a couple hundred points. They basically passed 39.5% of everybody who takes it. And I was right on that less than a percent bubble on the second time I took it. I was getting mentored by an attorney out here that's a good friend of mine. He teaches at Ventura College of Law, and it was challenging, to really just look at my family and see that I went to law school, did what I did with, you can imagine student loans and all that. And now I had, at the time, my new wife, new house, baby, 1-year-old, and couldn't pass the bar. It was pretty tough because I was going through that, as well as, I was working for VCCDC as the director of realty, still had my bills and responsibilities. Not to make any excuses, but it's a challenging test, and there hasn't been a test that I haven't been able to pass. So, but it was what I needed to happen in my life to go all in with real estate, because I always knew real estate was my calling. I just thought I would be doing something to help better the real estate community here in Ventura County through, I didn't know if it was going to be through legislation or what, but something to improve it, because I was a part of the last crash, had a few friends lose their place, and did a lot of self-reflection in law school about what I wanted to do. And more than anything, I wanted to have a positive impact on the community here in Ventura County. So grateful that we've been blessed with the business and the opportunities to be able to work hard, and for the right people that appreciate it, because not everybody appreciates it, as you know. And they do just look at agents as a dime a dozen, and you can find somebody who will do it for nothing or pretty close to it. But there's, as you know, it's a major move, and there's a lot of consequences that come from this. So I just promise you that I'm going to work hard for you as if you were our family, and do the best I can. And hopefully you'll, uh, you know, uh, pass our name out there when anybody's thinking about real estate in the future.
Well, if you satisfy us the way we hope you will, we certainly will. I will certainly refer your name. I wouldn't. Whenever you find something good or something worthwhile, you want to pass it along. And if you help us, then we'll certainly be more than happy to refer you to others.
Thank you, Scott.
So why don't I'm going to let you go.
Sure.
Can you send that contract over? I'll look at that, and I'll look at the estimate. I've got to do some reading here this afternoon, some study.
Sure.
I got an assignment here to take care of. So maybe, I don't want to interrupt your dinner time. What about like 5 p.m.? Would that work or not?
Yeah, 5 p.m. is great. We can make 5 work. So I'll send that over to you. I'll start working on the listing agreement. I'll email you a read version first so that you can just check it out, read it. If you want to get things started, then just shoot me a text and I can send it to you for e-signature. I will need to get your wife's email as well, and just the proper spelling of her name. Is her legal name Dora?
Yeah, let me give that to you right now. It's sure. Dora, D-O-R-A, middle initial A, same last name.
Okay.
She's got a Gmail account. It is alive in him 414 at gmail.com.
Gmail.com. That's great. Okay, so alive in him 414 at gmail.com.
That's correct.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I have that ready to go, so I'll start working on the contract. And then, do you have are you holding it as a joint tenancy, or is it in a trust? Just in terms of how you're holding title for the property.
It would be joint.
Okay. So just trying to see how to, I'm just going to put your legal names on there then. Sometimes it's in a trust. So that's perfect.
We just paid off this home. And the fall, in the autumn, I guess.
Okay.
And I don't know if we were ever. Well, the deed when we did get from the mortgage company, we got a payoff statement.
Right.
But as far as the deed,
well, it's all dependent on how you held title. So there are vesting instructions when you purchased it through the escrow process. Escrow company sends you a package. It's the same thing that's going to happen with, once you open escrow, you accept an offer. The escrow company will send you a package, ask you for you and your wife's information, check your social security numbers, just run everything, check out the property to make sure it's clean title, do their due diligence, and they do the same with the buyers. So more than likely when you purchased it, you filled out vesting instructions, and it's not critical whether it was joint tenancy. There's a chance it's community property with right of survivorship. And then there's other ways to hold it. But most husband and wives, will typically go with either joint tenancy or community property with right of survivorship. If something happens to one, everything automatically goes to the other spouse. So if I had to assume, that's likely probably how you purchase the property.
Yeah, it would be joint.
Cool. That sounds great. Well, I'll work on that. Send that over to you. Is there anything else I can get you?
No, as long as you're sure 5 is going to work for you. I don't foresee this taking more than 30 minutes.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no, 5 should work great. And I'm also going to reach out to the photographer, see what her availability looks like. If it is during the week before the weekend, is there, you mentioned in the afternoon was preferable?
Yeah, afternoon. Now, because I'm thinking here, she does come. We could probably do, Friday the 5th. We should probably just plan it for Friday the 5th.
Okay, I'll check to see if she's available for that.
Like late morning or early afternoon.
Okay. Late morning, early afternoon. And then what I'll do is I'm going to post-date the listing agreement to start the following Monday then, because if she does the photos on that Friday, she should have it to me by Saturday or Sunday. We could start advertising on Monday and then do our first showings that following weekend after that. If I have any other buyers I come across in between, I can reach out to you and see if we can get them in. So it gives us a couple weekends before to plan and prep, and you should be in pretty good shape by then.
Yeah, we can just start tucking a few things away,
Okay.
Just kind of chipping away at it. So it needs to be done anyway. So, but yeah, the big thing is low stress for my wife and for my daughter, but mostly my wife.
Sounds good. I'll do everything I can to assist with that. So just, as it's communications, everything. I think the more I understand what your expectations are, the more I can meet those expectations. So please feel free to share with me anything that you like or don't like in terms of how we do our business. And then Yvette, I CC'd her on there. She's a licensed real estate agent. She's phenomenal. She's awesome on the admin side as well. So originally I just had her as a transaction coordinator, and she's a little bit more involved now. She wants to learn more on the agent side, even though she's had her license for about 6 years. But a great person as an addition to our team. She actually used to assist Tina Hare, who was number 1 for Century 21 in the world. And that was the office that I was managing. So she worked for her, couldn't get really promoted, was stuck, and then came and joined me. So she's a great addition to the team.
Well, yeah, I'll let you go here in just a second, but I will second what you said. If I had to tell you, what's important to us.
Yes, sir.
Really, it's me, because again, you'll be dealing 100% with me. My wife will just simply be signing what you ask her to sign.
Okay.
So it'll be me, Brandon, but communication. I realize that you have multiple clients and you have a life, and I will try to not call you, when it really needs to be your family time. I understand that.
Right.
What I would ask is, open communication. I don't expect, you to text me back or call me back immediately, but certainly that day.
Right.
Or even something quick that says, "Hey, Scott, I got your text. can't talk right now. I'm in a meeting, but give me an hour, give me 2 hours, whatever.
Right.
I'm free this afternoon. But just so I'm not left wondering, gosh, I reached out to Brandon
Right.
and haven't heard anything. So it's that wondering that causes
Absolutely
stress.
Yep. No, I agree with you 100% on that. So thank you for sharing that. And just in complete transparency, we're going to actually go out to Big Bear Tuesday through Friday this week, try to catch some of that fresh powder that just came out there. But I still work. It's just in the mornings, probably till about 4 o'clock or so. I'm going to try to get our kids on the mountains on that'll be on Wednesday and Thursday. So just a heads up for that. But I do have my team back here helping with things that need to happen in terms of in person. I don't think that should impact us at all, but I just wanted to be upfront with you on that. That's the only scheduled trip that we have in the next month as well, next month, 2 months. So I'll let you know if anything else does come up, but we have all our systems, everything in place to be, highly effective at what we do.
And that's when again?
This Tuesday to Friday. So tomorrow till Friday morning is when we're going to be heading back.
Are you? Hello?
Yes, it started. Can you hear me okay? Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, it's there was, I think they're doing the yard in the background, so it was picking up some other noise. I was saying this Tuesday to Friday. So tomorrow till Friday. Yes, sir. I'll call you at 5 o'clock. Wonderful. Thank you, Scott. Take care. Bye-bye. Yes.